Our most viewed video did not meet our low quality expectations, and we want to give you the viewer the best possible viewing experience. So we deleted it, and just like a lazy video game remaster, we have improved the sound quality, added slight visual upgrades and one piece of additional content, and uploaded it as the definitive edition.
Released way back in 2005, the Xbox 360 was truly a fantastic beast of a console. Not only did it boast true next generation graphics taking our games from looking like this to this, it also came packed with one of the finest controllers around, a slick user interface, amazing online play, the Xbox Arcade, tons of indie gems, and so much more. I owned every model of the Xbox 360, and sadly even the Kinect.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
I've had my fair share of Red Rings of Death too. But yet, it still remains one of my favourite consoles of all time. And in its 10-year lifespan, the console saw well over a whopping 2,000 games land on the platform. But with heavy hitters like Halo and Gears of War stealing the limelight, there were always going to be a few games that didn't get their time to shine. And with all that being said, and the recent announcement of backwards compatibility on modern gen Xbox consoles, I thought we would dig up and uncover some of these hidden gems. I'm Rob, this is the Biddy Beer Bro Show, and here are the best Xbox 360 hidden gems you need to play. But how does an overly bright and colourful game where you play as a cheerleader with a massive chainsaw and her detached, still alive boyfriend's head clipped onto her waist sound? Well, that's what filmmaker James Gunn and punk game developer Suda51 gave us. Lollipop Chainsaw is a hack and slash adventure game that sees you play as Juliet, the youngest in a family of zombie hunters, who on her 18th birthday has to save her school from an undead horde. The game is straight up ridiculous, and that's what makes it so special. It doesn't hurt that the game also boasts a cast of likeable characters and ridiculous music genre inspired bosses, an awesome soundtrack, and some truly wacky diversions to the gameplay to keep things feeling fresh. The game's humour will also have you laughing throughout.
What are you gonna do? Throw magic stars at chupacabras with your tongue?
Maybe, Dad. Nick's tongue is very limber.
How do you know that?
From a bright and colourful hack and slasher to a dark and twisted one, Dante's Inferno is a devilishly delightful hack and slash adventure where you play as the titular Dante as he must battle his way through the 9 circles of hell, to not only save the love of his life, but also to achieve his redemption. So basically you're a tiny angry dude with a fuck off scythe. Dante's Inferno was released in 2010 and published by Visceral Games, the team behind one of my favourite games of all time, Dead Space. Dante's Inferno's gameplay is similar to the God of War series, but what made it stand out is its setting and design. All the enemies and bosses are fittingly grotesque and meticulously crafted. Combine that with an arsenal of weapons, abilities, magic and combos, and you have one hell of a game. What if Need for Speed and Mario Kart had a baby, where what you would get is Blur, combining more mature and realistic visuals with Mario Kart's over-the-top, weapon-based races was always going to be a winning formula. Released in 2010, published by Activision, and developed by Bizarre Creations, the same team behind the Project Gotham Racing series, Geometry Wars, and many more. Blur was not only highly entertaining, it also looked incredible and felt great to play. While there was a mountain of races, challenges and cars to unlock in the single player campaign, the game, just like Mario Kart, truly shined in its multiplayer, with tons of weapons, boosts and abilities for you to unleash on your rivals. Grab 3 friends and enjoy the chaos.
Time to hit hard and make him regret it.
Vanquish was released in 2010 and made by the team at Platinum Games, known for the Bayonetta series. Vanquish was also directed by the legend that is Shinji Mikami, who was responsible for giving us Resident Evil, its remake, and more importantly, Resident Evil 4. Vanquish takes the refined stop and pop cover-based shooter mechanics of Gears of War and ramps up the pace and insanity well over 9,000. Vanquish is an adrenaline-fueled spectacle that never gives you a moment to catch your breath. The game has you knee sliding, jet kicking, and time manipulating your way through futuristically designed levels and enemies. The story is bonkers action movie stupidness, but the gameplay is unrivaled and truly exhilarating. Vanquish is a must play.
And off I go. The greatest roster of all time. It doesn't matter!
If you like wrestling games or not, as what matters here is if you like chaotic fun, as WWE All-Stars is an absolute blast, featuring all the favourite wrestlers reimagined in an over-the-top cartoony art style. WWE All-Stars has a wealth of game modes, insane special moves, and ridiculous finishing moves. The game also boasts an absurd creator fighter mode that lets you concoct whatever freakish abomination that you can imagine. All of this combines to make one of the most hilariously dumb fun multiplayer games on the Xbox 360. The game is more focused on fun than realism and doesn't rely too much on stamina based combat, but more on grapples and counters and flashy style. If you're a fan of WWF No Mercy or the Def Jam series, you'll feel right at home with WWE All-Stars.
WWE All-Stars. You are still free. Fight him.
You wouldn't think this cutesy looking ninja game was brought to us by the same team behind the Hitman series, but in 2009, Mini Ninjas is what IO Interactive gave to the world. But don't let the game's cute art style fool you, as Mini Ninjas is a highly polished action-adventure title that's fun for adults and children alike, and not as easy as you may initially think. Featuring 6 playable ninjas, each with their own unique powers and abilities, Mini Ninjas is simple fun at its best, as you explore a stunning world filled with beautiful environments and try to restore peace to the ancient Japanese-inspired land and defeat the evil samurai warlord. Fun combat, inventive enemies, punishing bosses, and tons to unlock make Mini Ninjas well worth picking up. It took the movies a long while to give us a blood-soaked depiction of Marvel's Wolverine and Logan, but buried under the terrible X-Men Origins Wolverine movie was its tie-in game that gave us the claw-popping Canadian in all his brutal glory. Even though it was a tie-in game to the movie, it very loosely followed the movie's story and had its own much more mature plot. Also, unlike the movie, this game is ridiculously violent. You can cut off heads, limbs, impale people, and even raise enemies' heads into helicopter blades. Dispatching waves of goons in this game is extremely satisfying. Not only that, but when you take damage, you will see old Wolvie's flesh rip off, revealing his adamantium skeleton. Then, in an extremely nice touch, it will regenerate in real time. It's all extremely excessive, but extremely fun. This game is fan service done right, with lots of nods to the comics, classic suits, and some extra villains not seen in the film. Forget the movie and just play the game.
Only way to stop them is to take control of time itself.
Singularity is one of my favourite hidden gems ever, and I still urge my friends to play it time and time again. Singularity is a first-person shooter that has been described as a Russian Bioshock. Released back in 2010, the game was very poorly marketed and sadly missed by many of us, but I urge you to give it a go immediately. It features immersive world building, satisfying combat, a wealth of weapons, slow-mo bullet cam, and the ability to manipulate time make the game a true joy to play. You can honestly age enemies in front of your very eyes.
But just imagine this power if applied to a human. The ability to age a man to dust.
It's all schlocky, pulpy and hyper violent, and a goddamn good time because of it. It may borrow the best bits from a wealth of other games, but also adds its own tricks to make it its very own beast. I won't go into the story as I don't want to spoil it for you, but in a year where Call of Duty, Battlefield and even Halo are subpar, a genuinely good FPS is a rarity. So if you missed picking up Singularity back in the day, then what are you waiting for? Go give it a go. And that's it for this one. Be sure to check out our Blood and Bullets edition and our horror themed edition. Make sure you're subscribed as we will be covering so much more Xbox goodness over the next few months. Until next time, you guys stay tipsy.